Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray and coil.
Oh, hello and good evening. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on News about Desa Wakanda. Also live on TV3, Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. I am Alfred Okanse. Tonight, Supreme Court dismisses attempt by the Office of the Special Prosecutor to join a case questioning its independence. We'll tell you what this really means for the case going forward. Stay with us. Also, tonight, we put the spotlight on the Ayawaso East constituency as the NDC builds up to its primary ahead of the by-election on March 3. Baba Jamal has been explaining why he does not need to resign as ambassador to Nigeria to contest this by-election. Stay with us. We've got details for you. Also tonight, Africa Education Watch is petitioning, or has actually petitioned the Office of the Chief of Staff on the localization of government scholarships. We hear exactly what their concerns really are. Stay with us. Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch, Kofi Osari, is going to be joining us tonight. We have a conversation on this matter, plus this and more, including some news we got earlier of a fuel tanker accident somewhere in Nsawam. So stay with us. We're going to give you an update on that shortly. But the fire service will be joining us to give us an update of that rather worrying development. As always, you're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
Media Foundation for West Africa has condemned the assault on Media General's Northeast Regional Correspondent Solomon Kwame Kanawile during coverage of a military exercise in the Northeast region. The foundation says attacks on journalists undermine press freedom and accountability.
There's need to increasingly seek legal redress for some of these unfortunate incidents, because if it's just public condemnation and then it ends there, we've seen that in the past. We haven't really had much result. Let's also go through the legal means, do litigation, and ensure that we get justice for abused journalists. Media General should not let this case be one of those others that have gone unredressed.
Minister for Roads and Highways Kwame Gavins Agboja has disclosed the government has awarded 50 billion cedi worth of road contracts since assuming office a year ago. Speaking to TV3 New Day, the minister dismissed assertions that the NDC government is not spending.
The finance minister got the details, budgeted for it. We went to Parliament, sought multi-year commitment, declared that we're going to use our oil and mineral revenue and allocated it in the budget, and said that by the year 2020, end of 2027, this first phase of Big Push project should be completed. In addition to the Dambai Bridge, which is a major crossing, and a Chiamamfo Bridge.
World Health Organization WHO Africa Regional Director Dr. Mohamed Yakub Janabi has urged stronger collaboration between Ghana and other African nations to ensure quality healthcare delivery. He warned that challenges will persist if Africa's 47 countries fail to coordinate efforts.
I would really like to look on this reset in a bigger picture. Sovereignty is good, but 45 sovereignties without coordination, a little bit be more challenging than when we have a coordinating place. We know If nobody coordinates, one day we can wake up, we are all producing Corella vaccine. All the 47 members, they are going to produce Corella vaccine because we don't talk to each other.
The Minister of Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapor, says additional power would be procured this year in order to address projected 2026, 2027, 2028 supply deficit and match rising electricity consumption. According to the minister, consumption of electricity has increased due to the improvement of the economy. He was speaking when the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, paid a working visit to the ministry.
2026, if nothing is done, we're going to have a deficit of 294. 2027, 658. 2028, 1,470. Because of the way the economy is picking up, there's a lot of increased consumption when it comes to electricity. And so we must match that pace. And to do so, we must be very innovative. So we are coming up with either competitive tendering or we use VRA as a front so that we can have cheaper power for the people of Ghana.
The Ministry of Finance has issued a zero-tolerance warning against any attempt to sabotage a new artificial intelligence-powered customs system designed to strengthen revenue mobilization at Ghana's port. Deputy Minister for Finance Thomas Ampemyako announced that the platform, known as the Publican AI Trade Solution, is scheduled to go live on February 1st, 2026.
We want to encourage you to support this initiative and make sure it works. We are very determined to ensure that nobody stands in the way of the deployment of this important tool that will help us get the right revenue for the state. Our goal is to build a customs administration that is efficient, professional, and responsive to the needs of both the state and trading community.
There's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. Also on 3 News on YouTube, as always, proudly brought to you by Flamingo Paint, Simply Superior, Sasso Insecticide Spray and Call, Kumtumto Preko. Coming up next year on Ghana Tonight. It's one that we've been talking about over the last 24 hours and more. This military brutality on the media. Our own Northeast regional correspondent Solomon Kwame Kanawule. Yesterday you heard him narrate exactly what happened. It's been roundly condemned. The latest to join in on this is the Media Foundation for West Africa. But before that, there's an official statement that we here at Media General have put out earlier today on this particular incident that happened yesterday. Now, we're going to put the statement on the screen right now from the management of Media General on this particular incident. Media General has received with deep concern reports of the brutal assault of its Northeast regional correspondent Solomon Kwame Kanawule by military personnel in Wale Wale on January 26, 2026. Media General strongly condemns this act of violence against a journalist who was going about his daily activities without filming any military exercise. The unwarranted assault represents a serious abuse of power and a violation of the fundamental rights and privileges guaranteed under the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. We therefore call on the Military High Command and the IGP to urgently and thoroughly investigate this incident and ensure that all personnel found culpable are identified and appropriately sanctioned in accordance with military and national laws. Continues. Further, Media General is petitioning the Ministry of Defense to take decisive action to address what appears to be a growing pattern of military brutality against innocent civilians, including journalists, during internal security operations. The use of excessive force against unarmed citizens is unacceptable and must not be allowed to persist. Media General reiterates its commitment to responsible journalism, the rule of law, and the safety of media practitioners. We will continue to pursue all lawful avenues to ensure accountability and to safeguard the rights and welfare of our journalists across the country. Journalism is not a crime, and no journalist should be subjected to violence, intimidation, or abuse in the course of their duty. This is what has been now put out by Media General. This is the official statement that has been published. You'll find a full complement of this as well on 3news.com. Media General will also petition the Chief of Defense Staff and demand the following: a full, independent, and transparent investigation into the conduct of the military personnel involved in this incident, the identification and appropriate sanctioning of all officers and men found culpable. 3, a national review into the increasing incidents of excessive use of force by military personnel against civilians, including journalists, in the internal security operations. 4, clear assurances from the Ministry of Defense and the Ghana Armed Forces that the journalists and civilians will be protected from harassment, intimidation, and violence in the performance of their lawful activities. These are the 4-point demand that in the coming days, the management of Media General also will be making. But let's stay a bit further on this because we have been speaking to some stakeholders on this particular. Let's take a listen to the Media Foundation for West Africa on this matter.
To increasingly seek legal redress for some of these unfortunate incidents, because if it's just public condemnation and then it ends there, we've seen that in the past, we haven't really had much result. Let's also go through the legal means, do litigation, and ensure that we get justice for abused journalists. Media General should not let this case be one of those others that have gone unredressed. To the military command, I would say this is an opportunity for them to let Ghanaians know that they don't approve unprofessionalism.
There's more of this you'll find on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. But let's go straight to the eastern region, specifically in Swam. An accident that happened earlier today involving a fuel tanker. And the worrying development we saw is that continuous indiscipline on the part of persons within the catchment area where some of these accidents involving fuel tankers occur. Instead of these residents fleeing from the inflammable site or the accident site, they would rather troop to this area trying to siphon fuel from this tanker. And that is what we saw this morning as well in Swam. What you're seeing are residents rushing to the fuel tanker that capsized earlier today in Swam, in the eastern region, and siphoning the fuel, disregarding the caution and the calls by the officers of the Ghana National Fire Service who responded to this distress call of this accident earlier today. And it's quite a worrying development as we're seeing there. And these members of the general public, the people you're seeing there, did not take caution, even though the fire service, from what we gather from persons close to the action, told these people to leave the accident scene. They disregarded the caution from the fire service personnel who attended to this call. And rather, you see the gentleman with the pan that's full of fuel. And you have some of them, a crowd there with gallons siphoning fuel from this fuel tanker that already, according to the fire service, was an inflammable, highly inflammable environment which could easily spark fire. And we've seen this before, where a fire outbreak occurred or a blast occurred as a result of a fuel tanker engaged in an accident, residents going to this accident site to siphon fuel. Unfortunately, they met their untimely death. That did not serve as a lesson for people. And we're seeing this happen again. This happened earlier today. And let's go on to Zoom right now. DO3 Ignatius Kwamina Beidou is the Eastern Regional Chief Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service. He's joining us on Zoom right now. DO3, good evening. Thank you for joining us. A worrying development we're seeing in that video, and with the crowd there preventing you from even doing your work. But walk us through exactly what happened. What led to this accident that we're seeing?
All right, thank you very much. So, firstly, let me acknowledge our Chief Officer, Daniel Amaus Sapointo, and then my regional commander, ACFO 1 Timothy Asafu Afum, and all firefighters across the nation, and then generally to your viewership and to yourself. Good evening to you. So what happened was that at 8:30, we received a call at our Suhum fire station informing us of an incident that had happened at Okanta in the Nsawam Adodri constituency. Now, we do have a fire station at Nsawam, but Alfred, I'm sure you know of the challenges that fire service we are going through, even to the point that even the president himself has acknowledged that he will retool us. So unfortunately, our tender there was out of commission. So we had to send the next closest station, which is Suhum. So they got there at 8:52. So upon arriving at the scene, what they observed was that there was a DAF trailer, a DAF truck with registration number GC1084-11. Now, what they saw was that the head of the truck was up in an upright position, parked on the shoulder of the road, with the bulk or the body on its side, with fuel gushing out. So the town folks in that area were siphoning the fuel, which is actually quite dangerous, as any little spark could cause an ignition, which then would be very dangerous to their lives. As you know, with such issues, the ignition will be spontaneous. So our men were doing their best to keep the tank cool as it was lying on the pavement. You know, the pavement is hot and it will be heating up the contents of the truck. So we had to be cooling it at intervals of 10 minutes. And whilst we're doing this, we're facing some serious challenges from the town folks as they were just getting in our way. As I'm sure when you come across some videos on social media, you see what exactly was happening. So we were able to bring the situation under control with the help of the Ghana Police Service. We had the men from the Nsawam Command, Suhum Command, and even the Chebi Command trying to give us crowd control. So at the end of the day, we were able to upright the tank. So that was that. There was no casualties recorded and no reported also recorded.
I see, but clearly from the video, what we've been showing our viewers, which you referenced, was a clear difficulty trying to get the people to leave this accident site. As dangerous as it was, we see them in the video rather trooping to the area to siphon fuel. An unfortunate development. I mean, that was quite a task for you, is it not, to get them out of the place?
Okay, so as I said, we got to the scene at 8:59 and we left the scene at 12:17 hours. So you can see the time period that it took us to fight the fire. Now, please let me just use this opportunity to advise the public when it comes to such incidents. You see, with the fuel tankers, the gasoline and the diesel vapors, they're actually quite heavy. So they pass on the ground. So a single spark from your phone or from a cigarette or even a piece of metal scraping the pavement can ignite it from about 50 feet away. It can be ignited from about 50 feet away because of the vapor that is traveling along the ground. It's quite dangerous. So we wouldn't advise individuals to try and be siphoning fuel whilst it's leaking. Aside that, the vapors can also fill up your lungs and it can cause you some serious breathing problems. So we really appeal to the citizenry to desist from that, because how much at all can you even siphon? How much can you make off the product that you have siphoned to risk your life like that? Because just a spark can send the whole place into an inferno. So you need to be at least at a safe distance of at least 200 meters away from the incident scene and allow the emergency responders to do their job.
And we've seen this happen one too many times, where a fuel tanker is involved in an accident and then you have residents rather trooping to the area instead of fleeing the accident scene. So this advice you've given is timely, it's important. We can't emphasize this enough. But then again, it's incumbent on the people who are watching us to be responsible when some of these incidents happen. But what's the next phase of this accident that has happened today involving this fuel tanker?
So the next phase of our investigation is to conclude and then hand over the report to the company or the individual that is involved. That stretch is generally an accident-prone area. That stretch is generally an accident-prone area.
Right. And I thank you very much for this and getting to know that this is an accident-prone area as well and what measures can be and should be put in place to ensure this doesn't happen again. DO3 Ignatius Kwamina Beidou is Eastern Regional Chief Public Relations Officer for the Ghana National Fire Service. Thank you for connecting with us here on Ghana Tonight. But let's go straight into issues of politics, and the Ayawaso East constituency is readying for the primaries of the new National Democratic Congress NDC ahead of the March 3 by-election date. And the man that you're seeing there is a talk of town for one reason. He is the ambassador to Nigeria, Ghana's ambassador to Nigeria, Baba Jamal. He's actually a high commissioner to Nigeria. He has made his point quite clear that he is going to contest, but then again, he is not going to step aside. That's Ghana's High Commissioner to Nigeria, Baba Jamal, insists it is not out of place for him to contest for the Ayawaso East seat. He's been speaking to journalists earlier today, together with persons who support him. They hit the streets to make his point clear on the decision to contest the Ayawaso East constituency primary on the ticket of the NDC. Take a look.
I have a deputy. There's a deputy high commission. That's why I took a leave. I didn't just come. I applied for leave, and I'm entitled to that.
What happens when you win?
What happens when the government will take initiative to replace me? That's what happens. I'm not the first person to contest as a high commission. Do you understand? You remember just recently, Kwabinya Michael Quay from India. You remember Rashid Bawa of blessed memory. He was also even in Nigeria, and he was contesting Akan constituency. We have several cases like that. You don't need to resign. All what you need to do is to ask for leave, because in every year you serve, you have some number of days of leave. So you can apply part of it at any point in time. And that's what exactly I did. I applied for 10 days leave, which I'm here, which I'm entitled to. So nothing will fall short there. No, nothing will fall short there. Oh, of course, why not? As long as I have been appointed there as the High Commission, I will resume. Do you understand? But whatever happens, I will serve my community in my smaller. I think that if they give me the opportunity, it will give me a bigger platform to be able to serve them better. But it does not mean that I lost the first one. I supported them. I continue to support them. The loan scheme is still working.
That's Baba Jamal there. We'll find out from the party whether his position is consistent with the party's thinking about him and his future. You know, because of this decision is taken as the serving High Commissioner of Ghana to Nigeria. But this is the timetable that the NDC put out for this Ayawaso East parliamentary primaries. A number of things have happened already. Today, Tuesday, this is what has happened today. The submission of forms, filing of nomination, that's what happened today. And that's why we saw quite a number of them with their people on the streets, clearly jubilating with the first step that has been taken for the filing of nominations. We'll tell you the persons who have submitted, in fact, they have filed their nomination today. We have their names, 5 of them. We'll give you their identities in a bit. Stay with us. But going forward, there's going to be vetting, balloting, and any appeals against these persons. That's going to be tomorrow. And then also, eventually, on the 7th of February, there's going to be the primaries by the NDC in the Ayawaso East constituency. Rashid Tanko Computer is acting director of elections and IT for the NDC, joining us on Zoom. Tanko, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, Alfred. Let me say good evening to you and your cherished viewers.
Let me start off from Baba Jamal's position. Is his thinking consistent with what the party is also thinking, that, well, he's not the first, he says he's not the first to contest as a sitting High Commissioner or Ambassador, and so if he loses, he says it's an unlikely event, but if he loses, he will just go back to post. Is this consistent with your thinking?
Well, as a party, we have a regulation that we tease out from the party constitution, and the current regulation we are using to run the primaries doesn't talk about the issue of government officials and then high commissioners and all that. So clearly, we don't have such an issue in the party, and therefore the party does not have issues to do with whether he is to step down or not to step down. That one is left with government. It is a decision of government. It's not the party. For the party, we have no issues at all with that.
I see. So we'll see what the coming days will look like with the government position or decision on it. But how many people, let's confirm this, how many people filed their nomination today?
At the close of nomination today, we had 5 people filing their nomination out of the 6 who initially took the nomination forms on Saturday. Today, 5 of them came and completed the filing process. In fact, the last person to file today was Najib. Najib, who came and filed, he was the last person to file. Indeed, the High Commissioner filed. He was the first to file this morning. Honorable Baba Jamal, High Commissioner to Nigeria, he filed, and then Hajia Amina also came in and filed as well, who is the widow of the late MP, the Honorable Nasa. She filed, and then we also have Dr. Azindo. Azindo was part of the last primaries that elected the late MP. He also is coming back again strongly in this contest. Then we have the constituency chairman himself, Mohamed Ramni. He himself is in the race. So that makes them 5 today at the close of today.
I see. Now, the 5 names that you mentioned, that is including the widow of the late member of parliament. So it's clear she's proceeding with the decision to seek to replace her husband. But we've seen a letter that is coming from the functional executive committee of the party, signed by the General Secretary Fifi Kwete, indicating that they were not, or that the functional executive committee is not in agreement with the request that she was making that her vetting should be virtual, because she's mourning, and you did not agree to that. Why did the Functional Executive Committee not agree to a request for a virtual vetting?
Indeed, the party leadership received a request from the camp of Hajia Amina this afternoon, requesting that vetting should be virtual. And then, interestingly enough, today we have our Functional Executive Committee meeting. You know, every Tuesday we sit as Functional Executive Committee members to discuss the way forward of the party and then see how government is performing. So today we had our regular meeting, and then the letter came. So we discussed it. In fact, we discussed it thoroughly, and then we compared that one to our previous activities and performance of the party when it comes to matters of this nature. And clearly, in fact, our position has been very clear in matters of this nature. It is only a candidate who is outside the country and then finding it extremely difficult to connect, to come down, to participate in vetting. So it is only that one that we give that kind of reverence to candidates of that nature. But all candidates in the country are denied such privilege of going through such virtual vetting. We've never done it before, and so we don't want to create another precedent, or that will be like others can just latch on it and said, yes, a functional executive has varied a decision on matters of this nature, and therefore I can also, once in a while, I just sit and apply that they should give me the opportunity to also do virtual vetting. No, so that is the reason behind the functional executive declining her request that we cannot vary our decision based on matters of this nature. It is something that we have never done before. Others have tried it severally. We rejected it. It is only when you are outside. For instance, you are asked to come down. Maybe you are finding it difficult to connect flight to get to meet the vetting, or some health ground over there outside that is finding it difficult for you to come down to do the vetting. Then we can grant you that kind of request to do you virtual vetting. But if it's within Ghana, and then you put in your application to contest our primaries, you have to appear in person to meet the panel.
I see, but are there no exceptional situations where, yes, she's not out of the country, but then again, she is mourning her late husband, and so you can that not be the rule not be varied in exceptional situations like this? I mean, I just want to find out.
No, the rules cannot be varied based on this. These are choices people make. If you make a choice that although I'm mourning and I still want to participate in a political activity, that's your choice. I mean, so that choice, it should not force the functional executive to vary a decision. And then so we're mindful of precedents. And previously, others also requested similar things and we rejected it. And so we didn't want to give preferential treatment to somebody who we know. We are all mourning with the loss of our MP. We are mourning with her as well. But you see, the party has a regulation to abide, and then we also have a reputation that we need to protect as a political party. And so that is why we discuss it. And thankfully enough, the national chairman himself was there. He was sitting, chairing the meeting, the general secretary, all the other members, directorate members were all there. And then we'll look at it and then compare that one to previous decisions that we've taken. And that is why we arrive at this and decline that, no, we cannot adhere to her requests, and declined the request appropriately.
So what's going to happen after today? Quickly.
Well, tomorrow, the vetting will start by 11. The vetting will start. The panel has been set to do the vetting. We'll have 2 national officers. We'll go and sit with the regional executive to vet the 5 aspirants. And then after that, there will be balloting. And then after the outcome of the vetting, if somebody is aggrieved, you are doing vetting, anything can happen. And then so because of that, we have set up an appeal committee to stand by. Should there be an issue from the vetting, then the appeal committee will deal with that one. We will end everything on it tomorrow, then the balloting will be done. From there, we'll go straight to notice of poll. We'll print notice of poll for the constituency, and then the ballot papers will start printing. 7th February will be a DD. We've also set up a team that is going to supervise the election on the DD. We just want to have a very transparent process in this election, to be very transparent, a level playing ground for all the aspirants who will go through the process tomorrow. And then we will have a beautiful contest come February 7th. And I can assure you, I love the people of Nima. They are very nice people. And so far, so good. They have conducted themselves well, and that is what makes NDC a very unique political party. And we will continue the process until we get a candidate for the election.
Do appreciate your time. Thank you. We'll keep an eye on how things unfold. Well, we also look to what the NPP will be doing as well, because they've indicated their decision to also contest this by-election in Ayawaso East on March 3. Rashid Tanko Computer, thank you for joining us. He's Acting Director of IT and Elections for the National Democratic Congress, NDC. And these are the individuals we're talking about who have picked their nomination. In fact, they filed their nominations today. First, Mohammed Ramni, and then also Yakubu Azindo, Mohammed Baba Jamal Ahmed, the man we just spoke about, the serving High Commissioner to Nigeria, and also Najib Mohammed Sani, and the widow of the late Member of Parliament, Amina Adam, also in there. So these are the 5 individuals who have filed their nominations earlier today. The coming days, these are the individuals to watch for the NDC in the Ayawaso East constituency. This is your election command center. But away from that, let's go matter straight into education, because the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, the KNUST branch, they've also thrown their support behind calls for removal of Professor Ahmed Jinapor and his deputy from positions as GTEC Director General and Deputy. In fact, this is coming just a week after the University of Ghana, UTAG, also took that same decision. And today, we received a statement from the UTAG KNUST also indicating their decision to throw their support behind calls for the removal of the Director General and the Deputy Director General of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC. The union, in a press release, which you see on the screen right now, they're indicating a number of things. They say there's leadership incompetence at the GTEC. And say UTAG KNUST reports that GTEC has failed to ensure quality tertiary education across the public universities. Teaching and learning facilities, including laboratories and lecture theaters, are reported to be in poor condition. Student-lecturer ratios are said to be deteriorating without a clear response from GTEC. UTAG KNUST says unclear directives on post-retirement contracts have caused campus-wide confusion. Retired lecturers are reported to have gone unreplaced mid-academic year. Affected staff are said to be uncertain about their employment status. Finance directors are reported to lack guidance on whether retired lecturers should remain on payroll. UTAG KNUST is calling on the Chief of Staff to advise President John Mahama to remove the GTEC leadership. The association reports that Professor Ahmed Jinapor Abdullahi and Professor Augustine Oklu have been urged to resign by January 31. So that's essentially the sticky points of the KNUST UTAG. Much of the same concerns we see captured in the University of Ghana UTAG statement as well last week. But thankfully, we have Professor Eric K.K. Abavare, is the president of the University of KNUST UTAG branch. Is joining us on Zoom right now. Prof, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Clear and detailed concerns you have there. How grievous are these? Reason why you say that these two individuals should step aside?
Thank you very much. Alfred, for the opportunity. This decision wasn't taken lightly. It was taken based on holistic assessment of the activities of the Commission, as observed by executives in the general membership of Utah University. Indeed, the Commission has actually not lived to the expectation on the basis of the act establishing it. And when you summarize everything together, you come to a common conclusion, not different from that undertaken by UG. And so we are in full support, and we want the leadership of the Commission changed so that the universities of this country can actually see progress. But there are several things that, if I should recount, may take your time. But these were just a few things that came into mind. For instance, as you notice in our statement, we spoke just purposely for the student-lecturer ratio problem. This problem has persisted over the years, but it looks like it's just been seen as just usual problem without a solution, when the entity to spearhead this solution is the Commission, and the Commission appears not to be bothered about it. It's only interested in certain criteria, but what it needs to do to ensure those criteria it sets are followed through based on its own commitment in leading it. The Commission doesn't do it. So if the Commission doesn't do it with the leadership, what their role and their duty will remain there, then the best thing is for them to go for another set of people who think they can actually work to achieve the very objective of that act being led by the Commission leadership.
I see, but there's a sticky point in your statement that strikes me. You say, quote, the Commission has now become a tool for personal vindictiveness. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, thank you very much, Alfred. If you recall, not long ago, exactly at the 20th September, the 2021, the same month last year, the incidents that happened in UCC. How should one individual's non-cooperation, or whatever that it is, should a whole commission by an individual with a stroke of a pen state that such institution, which is UCC, which its establishment far exceed that of the GTEC itself, with a stroke of pen, say that institution is non-existent. Do you recall that incident? And nobody said anything about it. But amazingly, one would have expected that as a commission, we are not supposed to be dealing with individuals. We should be holistically be looking at the entity. And this entity you did not. Impulsively, I use the word impulsively, right? Cause the institution non-existent. That's the label they gave it to it. Did they for once think about the reputational damage of that institution? The international collaborators, its partners, affiliates, stakeholders, other groups that are stake in that institution, to say it did not exist. I mean, I just couldn't comprehend it. just because of one individual. And so, if you sum this to other similar incidents, then it means that that institution has become just an instrument for witch hunting. Nothing more, nothing less. Because for me, I just couldn't imagine if that thing had happened to KNUST. Grants that people are managing. Even the country Ghana is not even giving you the grant or the money even to do such research. And some countries' taxpayers' money, they give it to you to work. And a state, overzealous state, and institutions who have leadership with a stroke of pen, without, excuse my word, thinking deep the repercussions of that action.
Right. So if they don't resign, or if the president doesn't take the decision to sack them, then what next for you, KNUST UTAG?
Union KNUST supported the call, which we think is legit. We're waiting for the deadline to happen. And I'm expecting that other campuses will join the Clarion Call. And if other campuses as well join, I expect the national leadership of UTAG to. And then when they do, what it means that it becomes collective demand. And if the government does not do, unions will advise ourselves, because the work that I've mentioned in terms of the student ratio, the teachers don't get paid this number of students they are working, I mean the 3-fold or 4-fold that they are giving. They don't get paid differently. They just get paid just as if they were actually handling the prescribed norm the GTEC had given. So it means that you are indirectly killing staff. And no wonder we keep on losing some of our best staff around, because they are overwhelmed with work.
Right.
The work that 5 people should be doing, 1 person is doing. Okay. And the sad bit is they are not ensuring that those people are replaced.
Okay. Well, Prof, appreciate your time on this. And just January 31 is just some few days ahead. So we'll see how those coming days would look like on these demands that you're making. Professor Eric Abavare is the president of the KNUST UTAG. This is Ghana Tonight. We're back shortly after this quick break. We'll tell you matters still with education, why the Africa Education Watch is urging that scholarships should be localized. Government scholarships should be localized. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. Now, Africa Education Watch has petitioned the Chief of Staff over government scholarships. And this is one of the issues they raise. We're going to put out on the screen. They say that government scholarship arrears runs to over 600 million Ghana cedis in accumulated scholarship arrears to universities in the UK and the USA. More than 90% of programs pursued by government sponsors to students in the UK are available in Ghanaian public tertiary institutions. So what's the proposal? What's the solution? Kofi Asare is Executive Director of Africa Education Watch, is joining us on Zoom. Kofi, so this is the problem. Government of Ghana owes over 600 million cedis in accumulated scholarships. Will the localization of the scholarship awards be the solution to this? I can hear you, Kofi.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. You can speak. I can hear you, Kofi.
Yeah, so
I can hear you.
Yeah, we recognize that the debt being accumulated by the government is not sustainable. It's a simple matter of living beyond your means. The Scholarship Secretariat's budget for 2026 is just around 200 million. And if you decided that it wouldn't do anything, including paying salaries, and spend all this money in paying for expensive scholarships in British and American universities alone, it still will require 3 more years to do so. And in the next year, the debt will continue to accumulate. So the simple advice is that over 90% of these scholarships are available in country. And so in the spirit of equitable spending and spending efficiency, it makes sense for the government to identify opportunities for the students to come and continue their scholarships in country, and then save the taxpayer the embarrassment of spending so much dollars that we don't even have just to sustain about 300 students in very, very expensive universities abroad. In terms of localizing scholarships, the scholarships law, which was just signed into law by the president, actually under Section 3, significantly localizes scholarships. And so we have a new law that opens the new dawn in scholarship administration, where localization of scholarship is a priority. But this is an issue of accumulated debt from the previous dispensation, where there was no law governing scholarships. And that is why decisive action on this matter is very important.
See, Kofi, and I do appreciate you for this, and we'll see the response that the Chief of Staff will give to this petition and what the way forward will look like. But thank you so much for joining us. There was a little hitch in the connection to Kofi Asare, but the point clearly made there. He's Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch. They've petitioned the Chief of Staff over these growing arrears of government scholarships to these universities in the UK and in the US as well. On behalf of the rest of the team, we do appreciate your company. Join us same time tomorrow for another conversation. I am Alfred Okansi. Have a good night.
Ghana.